Welcome to Rock It Up TV. I'm your host, Darren Flower, and we're here at Backroom Studios, and we're here to rock it up. We're talking about all kinds of stuff, but we're talking about... Why am I talking like this? Okay, seriously, we are on Rock It Up TV. We are filming this at the lovely Backroom Studios, and we're going to be talking about session musicians. We have a great guest lined up for you, sleeping on the couch over here, and you want to tune into this because it's going to be a great episode. Rock it up. You know what I'm talking about, Maine? All right, we're back here on Rock It Up TV here at lovely Backroom Studios, and we have a very special guest today, sleeping on a couch right now. Let me see if he's awake.
Hey!
Oh, there you are. All right. High
my
five.
ESP kicked in.
High five. Okay, we have such lovely guests here. Brad Park, aka B Park,
Yeah.
the only person who calls you that.
Yeah.
Session musician, played in a bunch of bands, including this one band called Big Wreck. It was a pretty big deal. It still is a pretty big deal. And yeah, you've done a lot of interesting projects, and we're here to talk about the life of a session musician.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Okay. So let's start it. Why is it so appealing to be a freelance musician as opposed to being a regular band dude and being in one band? I don't personally don't get it. I've never, been one of these guys to kind of float around. I always just been in like one home kind of thing.
I think I told you this before. It's like everybody.
Tell me it again.
Everybody that I work with, they all have their dream. They're trying to like do their thing, their vision that they see, and like I come in and I go in like a special agent and I help them assassinate those tracks. Boom, 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 boom in the studio, all done, and then boom, I'm gone. And then they go on and do whatever they do, and then I can go and do the next project and with a whole different set of people or a
different playground, a different sandbox.
Totally different music, totally different everything, and then have that experience, and then go do a different one. Whereas in the band situation, you're with the same people all the time.
Playing the same kind of music.
Usually you're playing the same songs all the time, too. And that can be a little bit draining.
Yeah, sometimes.
You know what I mean? So if you're doing that every day and like week after week, yeah, it can. So I like the variety.
Mm-hmm. We both like a lot of different kinds of music. Me, I'm mostly a rock guy, classic rock revivalist for sure. You like a lot of different kinds of music, including rock music, but for you, it's really appealing because you get a chance to showcase your skill set in many different ways, yes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, I like to sort of work for myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm the boss of what I'm going to go there and do.
You're not the boss, you're the boss.
Well, I'm the boss.
Yeah?
He's the boss.
Boss player.
But, you go in and you have to be good at what you do. It takes a while to hone your craft in the studio. It's like anything. Like it's like with touring, you'd have to like go a few times before you get the hang of it and you know what it's going to be like so that you can prepare yourself for it. And studio's a lot like that too. Mind you, lately studio stuff has been changing a lot because so many people have their own home studio setups, and a lot of people use electronic drums at home and or use like loops and that sort of stuff.
The good people at Rock It Up give that 2 thumbs down, by the way.
Well, I mean, and I appreciate electronic music greatly. I love it.
And just to be clear, that's kind of like your musical home too, right?
It really is.
Is that what you're most passionate about?
Ambient and electronic music are my favorite forms of music these days. Mm-hmm. But that being said, most of the work is doing like rock stuff or hip hop stuff.
Interesting.
That I would do in the studio.
Okay.
Or singer-songwriter stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, Stone River, the band that I perform in, we were very lucky to have you contracted to do one song with producer Eric Ratz.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple years ago.
Juno Award-winning producer. Eric Ratz.
Juno Award-winning producer.
Well, he's awesome.
He is awesome.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So are you, man? You killed it.
That was a great experience, and that was after. Years of doing lots of different sessions, so I can come into a session and know, and you become part of the band for that little period of time, and you're there with the guys doing it, and you have the same vision. Like you hear what they want to hear, and like everybody's open about what they want to hear from you too, and you can really go in there and go for it, and that's fun. Like that's a lot of fun. And then I go home after, and it's like you guys continue on with that thing, and later months down the road I hear it finished or whatever, and it's cool, and I can show, my friends and be like, hey, check this out, another thing, that's awesome.
Excellent.
So that's what I like about it.
So being a session musician, should you be able to play many different styles of music? I don't know how this works, so I'm legitimately asking you a legitimate question.
Okay, well, legitimately, I would say that you should definitely know more than just one style, unless you want to be pigeonholed into just doing sessions within that style, which is fine. Like certain people do that, like Kenny Aronoff, plays that way, and that's what he gets called for, is to play like Kenny Aronoff. Whereas some people are more chameleons, and they'll change the way they play depending on the project. So it really depends, It really depends. But yeah, you should definitely have your head wrapped around at least a few different styles of music and how they fit together and what's different about them, and how you can even use them together.
I guess it also helps to be a legitimate fan of different kinds of music and get a chance to absorb and learn the intricacies of all these genres. Because we all work with the same amount of notes. As an instrumentalist, that's not a drummer. We have an E to a D sharp, before you get to the next octave. But it just every genre has a different flavor to it. It's like a different language, really. So for you, being able to bounce from rock, hip hop, to, I don't know, country, electronic, it's almost like you are well versed in a couple different musical languages.
Well, you have to listen, and being a musician, one of the most important things about learning how to play any instrument is just listening to music. Like, I've spent more time getting better at my instrument just by listening to stuff or sitting there and visualizing things rather than actually being at the instrument with a click on doing the stuff, it's like...
Well, yeah, I think that music is like 80% mental and 20% physical.
And it has to
and
get
there's a
into
psychology
your soul.
behind it.
There's like for me, there's like a spiritual aspect to it where you got to feel it in your soul, it's got to be like this thing, Well,
you really should be able to understand and appreciate the kind of music that you're going to play. I'm pretty sure I could play Backstreet Boys songs, Quit Playing Games with My Heart. I don't want to do it. I'm pretty sure I can, but if it doesn't touch me here, then I'm not going to make it happen here.
Is that Quit Playing Games with My Heart?
Yeah,
that one?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
You're a closet Backstreet Boy fan. Do you know the dance moves and everything?
A little bit, yeah. Well, if we...
I saw you practicing out there, so I just had to ask.
Yeah, no, it's nice to dance, and especially being a drummer, it's good to dance. Backstreet Boys are good.
NSYNC's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, One Direction, not so much.
Not so much.
Okay. And that's just my opinion. I'm sure the millions of people watching this would disagree.
I don't think
Don't
so,
send me
yeah.
hate mail, by the way.
No, send it. Send it to me.
DarrenFlower@outlook.com.
Yeah, send some.
Okay, good. How does a session musician make money? I guess there's the obvious ones of doing studio work, but there's different avenues to travel when you're a session musician. Yeah.
Well, you can be a live session musician, and
right.
I do that more often usually than I do studio work.
Okay, so explain to the people who don't know what that is. Live.
So let's say you have a band and you don't actually have a drummer, in my situation.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Or your drummer sucks, and you want to have a better drummer for this performance because all these people are there. So I'll come in and assassinate the situation, just like...
I'm laughing because I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and everybody goes home happy, and again, it's a situation
except
where
for the drummer.
Well, the drummer is sitting at home going, what did I do wrong? And,
yikes.
But that's the reality of it. Like, I know certain situations that's happened in, and people have gotten really upset, really upset.
Yeah.
Threatened the band. Threatened the management.
Right.
Remember that?
Yes. We'll talk about that off camera, though. Okay. So let's look what we got. You have studio work, right? Which you get quite a bit of gigs like that, right? Yeah. There's live stuff like, playing, going on tour. We were in Germany. We hired you to play one show, a festival, because we didn't have a drummer at the time.
Yeah. It's expensive.
It is expensive, yeah.
But it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if somebody of your caliber.
Well, no, it's just I'm fun.
Yeah, you are.
You could have brought anybody, but we had more fun because I came. It's just a bit fun.
Legitimate truth. Okay. So what else? What other avenues? There's, I guess there's, I mean, live shows. I mean, there's cruise ship stuff that you could be doing as well too.
Yeah,
I mean, is there something I'm missing?
That's a commitment. Well, honestly, not really. I mean, like the only other thing that I do is, I teach.
Teach. Yeah.
And that's not session work.
That's not really session work.
But that is also another thing that you should be doing, like if you're not always working.
Well, and that's an important stream of revenue, right?
Yeah,
I teach as well too, and if I didn't, I'd be losing quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
I'm not a session musician, but money is money is money. And when you're a session musician, I think that you do have to enjoy the music that you do, but you also have to, kind of balance your checkbook and
There's
look at your
another
bank
aspect
account.
to it too. I was going to say, sorry to cut you off, but
It's okay.
clinics, like doing clinics, I've done a lot of work doing that.
Good.
And that money is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you're not with a band, you're by yourself or with a rep from a company that you endorse. So that's another avenue too, where it's good to be freelance because then you can just get up and go and do a tour of just clinics,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really have to answer to anybody except for yourself and of course the people that you're there to play for. But you go and you be professional and you do what you got to do, and that's a really great avenue to go down if you're fortunate enough to have those opportunities.
Right. Okay.
Not everybody does, and clinics are becoming less and less these days too. It's very expensive to do them, and not a lot of people are buying music gear. So get out there and buy music gear, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Pearl drums.
Okay, I think there's a lot of drummers that could benefit from sitting down with you, whether you're in a teaching environment or just a clinic, and getting a chance to pick your brain.
Yeah, I mean, I have people that want to do that all the time, but they don't want to necessarily pay for it.
Nobody wants to pay for anything these days.
Yeah, so, but honestly, like, I'm not going to tell you everything. You're not going to get all the secrets unless we actually get serious about it,
Right.
And, I've had the opportunity of studying with some of the top drummers in the world, so I have a lot of information in there to give to somebody who wants to get to that level with me. So, I take teaching very seriously.
Good,
Teaching
me too.
is a very serious thing, so.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of education, whether it be music, whether it be, regular, school education. I'm just a big fan of learning, and, I love it when the figurative light bulb goes on over somebody's head.
Yeah, no, it's great, and it's great connecting with people on that level, and and if they actually work hard at it, it pays off. You feel good.
Yeah, very rewarding.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding thing.
So as a session musician, how do you find gigs? Is it word of mouth because of the level that you're at? People, drummers are always in demand.
Yeah, I've never gone looking for gigs. Like I never open a paper and
Craigslist?
see where a drummer wanted. I've never do that.
Really?
I did it once when I was like 16. And I ended up coming downtown and playing with this dude, but it wasn't serious, like none of that stuff is ever serious. So the only stuff that I pick up the phone for is if it's serious, and people know not to even bother talking to me unless it's serious. Like if you want to go and do a show, it's going to be the minimum this, and you're going to get like the full treatment, and it's going to be awesome, but it's going to be a minimum this, and they know that. So then it's word of mouth. So I get a lot of people who call me because I played with their friend's band or like another, that sort of situation. Or they saw me in a Big Rack video, or, they were at a drum clinic and they want me to come and do this now. Like, so those sort of situations. But yeah, I don't necessarily go after stuff. Not that, I just don't believe that, like, from my experience, that there's anything that's worthwhile doing that sort of avenue. Just from my experience,
Fair enough. Okay, because I know that there's some people out there that will scour the internet and looking for opportunities as well too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that that's there, but I'm just not that guy. I'm just not that guy, and I'm not a big self-promoter. Like, I don't go on Facebook and say, "Hey, drummer looking for gigs this weekend. I'm really good. 10 years experience." Like, I don't need to do that crap. You know what I mean? Like, if you want me, you want me. And that's it. If you don't, you don't. I don't care.
Well, I'm a terrible musician, so that's what I actually have to do. I just go on Facebook and just con people into trying to hire me. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have different philosophies, of course.
Everybody's different. For me, it's like,
You're good, I stink.
Life is different for me now that I've been through all the things that I've been through, and I don't really, the massive like dream and like caring about this like stuff that's not even tangible is gone. It's just gone.
Excellent.
It's gone. Bye.
Well, we have to take a small commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of freelancing. And you want to hear this because it's going to be good. Check it out. Rock it up.
Rock It Up would not be possible without the help from our sponsors, Loretta and Sherilyn Flower. Contact them at 905-855-2200. Premier Mortgage Agent Dorothy Lazari, making mortgages simple with 20 years banking experience. Contact Dorothy Lazari at 416-428-9165. The Suburban Dog. Contact Michael Franklin at 905-582-6067 or email him at info@suburbandog.ca. Adobe Home Collection. Contact Sharon Cairns at 905-602-8905 or email her at sharon@adobehome.ca. Senior Burrito, the best authentic Mexican food in town. Visit us at our Mississauga location or give us a call at 905-916-2712.
All right, we're back here on Rock It Up TV, okay, here at lovely Backroom Studios, okay, and we're talking to Brad Park, B Park, as I like to call him.
B Michael.
B minus. No, you get an A plus in my books, pal. The real deal, okay?
Thanks.
Don't ever let anybody tell you differently.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I'll stop being your publicist now.
Okay.
We're here to talk about session musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So what's some of the pros and cons of freelancing? Because I see good, bad, like I've never been a session musician, but I can only imagine that, it's not all like, fun and games.
One of the things is you have to learn a lot of music, and usually it's new music all the time.
Is that a con or a pro?
That can be a bit of both, but it can be taxing at times because sometimes you're learning like 2 or 3 projects at once.
Ugh.
And, it takes time to not only absorb the stuff, or if you decide you want to chart it out or whatever, but then you have to go and, usually I like to go and play through stuff a few times before I go and play with somebody. So, it's a lot of rehearsal time that you don't get paid for and stuff like that. But another pro is that sometimes, you get paid pretty well because you can determine what your rate is and stuff. And if people are willing to pay that, then generally, you're pretty happy with it, rather than we were talking about the difference between being in a band, where sometimes the band doesn't necessarily make money, or you might make money, but it goes into like a band account or like something.
Most
like
bands
that.
I know don't make money.
Yeah, they don't even make money.
At the independent level.
Yeah, so, that's another thing too. I mean, you actually do make money if you're doing session work, Mind you, you might not be doing session work all the time, so.
Now, what about this possibly being a con, or maybe not so much possibly, but has there been times where you've found work that you're just not excited about, but it's work? So like, I don't know, you're playing, perhaps pop punk. I don't know, maybe you're a fan of that. I'm not, just to be clear.
I play in a pop punk band.
You do?
Well, it's kind of glammy pop punk.
Okay.
Glee, pop punk, Glee.
Okay, you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay. But has there ever been times where you didn't enjoy it, but you're just like paycheck? Oh man, I gotta pay off my credit card. Like,
I mean, when I used to play in wedding bands, and when I would do those sorts of gigs, yeah, like I would hate every minute of it.
Really?
Oh yeah. The only part I liked was eating.
Open bar.
Yeah, open bar is cool too. But then you end up falling asleep with the drum kit by the third set,
Okay.
So, and then if you're bored with your gig, then you start doing bad things, you just start misbehaving and stuff like that. So I like to do stuff that I like. I don't really do the wedding thing anymore. I love playing with like jazz improv guys or like blues. I even love playing the blues now because of just a good vibe. You get a good paycheck at the end. Everybody loves the blues. Yeah,
I would think that playing blues as a drummer and probably a bass player is like one of the worst things ever. You're just kind of like,
Honestly, dude, if
metronome.
you have to be able to play with such a feel and like to bring that and be comfortable in it and like relaxed and like still bringing it, you know what I mean? And to have that stamina all night, it's a good challenge and it's fun to do. So I love those sessions, Like I was saying, I love the jazz sessions. I love hip hop sessions. Like I love hip hop sessions. Hip hop guys are the best to record with. They know how to treat everybody properly. The music's pretty fun, usually, to play.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, too, because I thought is done mostly like by making beats.
Well, a lot of people do
Fruity
do that.
Loops and such and such.
But some people want to use, live drums and like have that live feel. Live feel, you can't get that with a drum machine. You can try and quantize it so that it is a little late every second time or whatever, which has its own thing too. But to humanize it or to have the human there doing it, I mean, that's something different. And the power in the air moving and stuff. It's like the energy in the room is moving and all the mics are on, and like it's a feel thing.
One of the pros of which we actually referenced earlier in this episode was the chance to play with many different people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's appealing to you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I love playing with new people all the time, and not only playing their music, but getting to know them as friends, and having adventures with new people all the time. It's pretty neat.
Okay.
It's always exciting.
Freelance work. Is it being phased out by technology? I don't know these things, so I wanted to really ask you, like, what is your thoughts on this?
That attitude has sort of been around since drum machines came out. And a lot of drummers who are older than me have told me that, there once was a time where they were doing all the work and then the drum machines came and then they had to stop and they had to get normal jobs at, fixing radios and stuff like that.
Boo.
Yeah, and that was sort of like the attitude then. And now I feel like that's sort of coming back a little bit because everybody has access to the home studio gear and all these loops and you can basically get anything you want for free on the internet if you know how to work torrents and stuff, so.
Well, and there's a program called Big Effing Drums.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not kidding about this effing thing. I'm not allowed to say it, but yeah, it's called Big Effing Drums.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's great when you actually don't have a drummer. You're just noodling away in your bedroom or something, making music, just very low key kind of stuff.
It sounds like crap, but because
Does
it's
it?
not real. Well, I can hear the difference.
Can you?
Like I can hear anything that's been recorded with sampled drums. I can hear right away, and I don't listen to music like that generally.
Okay.
With like a lot of some of the rock projects I've done, they'll go and put samples on top of all the stuff that I've done, just so it has that specific sound. The sound that I like is the live drum kit sound, the air of the cymbals, everything harmonizing together. The whole kit vibrates when you hit one drum, and you can hear that in a recording, and it doesn't sound like a machine gun snipped together.
It's a little too perfect. Sometimes
It's a little too perfect.
Yeah.
And I like how jazz and I was talking about blues. Like, you're not going to put a drum machine to a blues. Forget about I'm a producer. No, you're a joke. You're not a producer. It's
very detail oriented.
Yeah, and also it's real. It's a real thing. Think about Pet Sounds, Brian Wilson, That was one of the greatest records ever recorded. He did it basically by himself and just hired session musicians to do what he had in his head. And the sound of that. I don't know if you've ever listened to that record.
I never really got into the Beach Boys.
Well, you should listen to that record.
Yeah, I'm a big harmony kind of guy, ironically enough, too. Yeah. I actually don't listen to the Beatles. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for that, too.
Well, it's good to listen to. I'm into recording arts. I like the recording art side of it. So I like listening to the recordings of the Beatles, the Beach Boys, Led Zeppelin. They're all groundbreaking recordings. Pink Floyd, all the old stuff. And then through the 80s with Peter Gabriel and those recordings, and it's about recording. That's another big part of the session stuff that I like, is going into the studio with people and recording it properly. You know what I mean?
Well, so there's 24 hours in a day. If you had it your way, how many hours would you be practicing drums?
3.
3 hours a day?
Yeah, because beyond that, I love food. I love eating. And the time that it takes to prepare food properly, I'll spend the time doing that. So that's important time to me. And that's time where I can be listening to the music I have to learn, or just, going over things, not having any music on, and just meditating about things in life that have to be done. It's not all drums all the time. It's not. And if it was, I don't know if I would enjoy that.
Well, a lot of it's mental too. I mean, even when you're like, meditating, you're kind of getting yourself prepared to, go into a studio or a live gig or whatever.
Yeah.
Listening to music. I really believe that music is actually 80% psychology and 20% like actual, applying it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of it's up here, and a lot of it's visualization too. So I like to spend a lot of time not playing music and just, thinking about stuff. And that's creative too. And I also record music at home, like soundtrack music and stuff. So ambient music with no drums, no beats.
Yeah, just like score, right? Setting the mood. Ambient.
So I'll pick a project for myself. I'll say like, let me record the scariest thing I can today, and I'll just try and find the scariest sounds and put them together, and that's fun for me. And it's not playing drums, and it's not doing session work, and I'm not getting paid to do it. I just love it,
Well, Brad, B.
D?
It's D and B. I love it. We should have our own show. Already kind of halfway there, but
this is the beginning of something beautiful.
I think so, man. It's like when doves cry and stuff like that. So thank you very much for being on my show. We're gonna get you to just sample a drum kit just to show off a little bit. You're my celebrity guest. You were in Big Wreck, so yeah, exactly. So thank you very much again for being on the show. This has been a stellar edition of Rock It Up. I hope a lot of people learned quite a bit about being a session musician. And if you ever decide to go down that route, if anybody wanted to go and become a session musician, do you have one little piece of advice for them before we sign off?
Be nice to people.
Yeah, that's not just a music thing. That's just an everyday thing, right?
Generally, it's nice to do.
Excellent. Okay, well, I hope I was being very nice to you.
You're really nice.
Oh.
You're like a Disney
I was just kind of
character.
faking it. Okay. The cameras are rolling. Okay, ham it up a little bit. All right, okay. So, my name is Darren Flower. This is Rock It Up TV, and I hope you are thoroughly entertained by this broadcast. Rock it up.
Rock It Up would not be possible without the help from our sponsors, Loretta and Sherilyn Flower. Contact them at 905-855-2200. Premier Mortgage Agent Dorothy Lazari, making mortgages simple with 20 years banking experience. Contact Dorothy Lazari at 416-428-9165. The Suburban Dog. Contact Michael Franklin at 905-582-6067. Or email him at info@suburbandog.ca. Adobe Home Collection. Contact Sharon Cairns at 905-602-8905. Or email her at sharon@adobehome.ca. Senior Burrito, the best authentic Mexican food in town. Visit us at our Mississauga location or give us a call at 905-916-2712.